think I am live everywhere. Yay. So, welcome back. I'm on day 5 of my lives every day, trying to provide some service to you guys. I'm Dr. Lori Marbus. For those of you who are new to me or to this page, wherever you might be, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, welcome. I'm a family and lifestyle medicine physician. I am board certified in both of those fields. I've been a doctor for a couple of decades now, and I am licensed in all 50 states, including DC, and I am seeing patients at drmarbus.com. But today I wanted to speak to something that obviously affects many people. Many times I'll get patients who are really struggling to lose weight. And, I typically approach this as let's get the diet in the right place, your movement, your sleep. Let's get everything optimized. And weight loss seems to be a beautiful consequence of doing all these wonderful lifestyle things. However, sometimes I do see some patients who continue to struggle to lose weight for a variety of reasons. So I wanted to just kind of speak to what I consider the secret sauce to weight loss, which is just a few tweaks that you might want to be thinking about. First of all, many people or I should say, underestimate the number of calories that we actually consume. Now, to have a weight loss, including more fat and actually gain or maintain muscle mass, it can absolutely be done. And the way you do that is a very small or moderate caloric deficit, 200, 300 calories per day, and you also need to incorporate strength training. So the saying goes, eat less, move more, absolutely is true. Now, there obviously are some nuances to it depending on the person. But in order to maintain muscle mass or gain muscle mass and lose fat while you're trying to do a body recomp is really important, is that small caloric deficit and building muscle mass. And I've been doing this myself for the last 3 or 4 months. I've been working with the Fit Vegan, Maxime Seguin, who's an amazing coach. You guys should check him out, fitvegancoaching.com. And it's been great. I wasn't even overweight. My BMI has always remained like 21 or below. But as I got older, and especially this last year, I haven't been doing as much of the resistance training and everything that I wanted. And I really wanted to get stronger, but also for running. So I've been working with Maxime for this whole time. I have lost 10 pounds of body weight, but also even more body fat and gained muscle at the same time. So what am I doing? I'm running 3 times a week. I'm trying to get, one of my goals is to run a half marathon in under 2 hours. I will be 53 next month, but I want to do this by the time I turn 54 next October. And I've run lots of half marathons, but I've never done it under 2 hours because I've always been a bit of a slower runner. But if I can beat that in middle age, I feel like that's saying a lot. Now, I feel really good. I have great energy. For the most part, I sleep well. I do have some, difficulty sleeping, waking up in the middle of the night. But that seems to be getting better. I find that the more I exercise and hit at least 12,000 steps a day and incorporate that weight training, I sleep much better when I move my body more. So that's one thing that does help with the weight loss, is better sleep, but also more movement. And in addition to that, I'm also doing weight training 3 days a week. So there's an upper body focus, then another day is a lower body focus, and another one is a full body. Over the progression each week, I'm adding increasing weights, or we're adding increasing sets. And that means that I'm just doing a progressive overload. So today was a little bit hard one. So one of my other goals, I have 3 goals for the next year, is to do a pull-up straight from a straight hang, and not a chin up, but a straight up pull up. So I went from not being able to do any negative pull-ups very well to 3 negative slow pull-ups, and I'm doing some other stuff. And the other thing I want to do is a pistol squat on each leg. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically, imagine you're going in a deep squat, but with one leg out, and then you sit down, you squat down, and you come back up. And that's hard for young people, but I know I can do it. It's just going to take some time, and I'm not going to ever think that I can't because I know I can. But it's anyway, so it's a process. So today, for example, we're working on those progressions and I'm adding more, but it was really hard. And it was great to know what my body can, but it was also nice to be challenged. So I think the other piece of this secret weight loss, secret sauce weight loss is not going so far outside of what you potentially could do, but making yourself work towards a goal that you're going to feel super good about when you do reach. So I know even the progressions, because I know doing that pull up or doing that pistol squat or running that half marathon under 2 hours is going to be an amazing day when I do accomplish that, because I will accomplish it. But what's really been fun for me is to see the progression, right? Is to really latch on to I've hit the next step. So these are small increments of improvement that are getting me closer and closer to that ultimate goal. And once I hit that goal, then I'll, add on to the tap onto the next one. But for me, the reason I can feel like I can do the hard work, one, I'm doing two things. I'm making the progress smaller, right? So it's not something that's going to wipe me out. So I'm not going in and lifting to exhaustion where I just can't. But, I'm really literally working to where I'm a little bit sore, but I'm not so sore that I can't move the next day. And there may be benefit to, you know, going all out to where you can't do any more reps, but that's not for me. I am a busy human. That's a doctor, and I have work to do. And the last thing I want to do is cry every time I, go to sit down on the toilet or sit down in my chair. I'm a big fan of feeling the muscles and saying, "Yep, they're there. I've done some work." And seeing progression and being able and encouraged to move on and continue the workout. So I think that's another thing that many times we get weekend warrior syndrome, or we go out and we, you know, I don't want to say it, but balls to the walls kind of thing. Like you're out there really just having a blast and then you're exhausted for a week or two because you've injured yourself. I am not a fan of injury. So for example, I've run for a long time. I first started running towards the end of my high school year, just in preparation for the Air Force, because I really wanted to do ROTC, and I had been active duty. I served for 4 years. It was a little bit later, but I started running and I really enjoyed it. But what's been interesting is over the years I'd have wax and waning times of running. So, for example, more recently, to build up where I didn't feel like I'd have injury, because I'm running 5 miles Tuesdays and Thursdays, and like this Saturday I'll run 8, and I'll build that up to probably 10, and I will only be doing 3 runs a week. But I will have a strong foundational base of about 20 miles per week. And what I'll do is I may throw in some speed work or some other things, but I really wanted to build a strong foundation. And the way I did that, and I've done it multiple times over the many decades, is starting literally with half a mile. I would run half a mile and be happy with it. And then the next week, I've gone as small as or adding a quarter of a mile per week, adding a half a mile per week. In the last 3, 4 months, I've been adding half a mile per week on my Tuesday, Thursday runs and a full mile on my Saturday. And so there is some wisdom to adding, like that. You may have heard that 10% rule of adding when you're running. You can certainly do that, but I found those increments are sustainable for me without injury. And now the longer runs, I do need to be very pay attention to. Um, as I get fatigued towards the end of my run, I found that my proper form and stuff kind of diminishes, so that can be a concern for injury. And then the other thing is I'm walking probably 3 miles every single day, regardless if I'm running or not. So again, movement is so important. It's lotion to the joints, right? It's motion is lotion, so to speak. And if you can really hone in on the small steps, being consistent, and then that calorie deficit's been small. It's been a little bit more and more recently, just as because I'm entering into my last phase of what I consider fat loss. And then we're going to be doing what we call a refeeding phase, or what's his word that Maxime uses a word. I was just on his podcast. I think it's going live in a few weeks. You guys can watch it, but he's going to add in just a few more calories as I'm continuing. I'm going to be adding more muscle mass, and apparently I'll be able to eat a lot more calories and maintain the body composition that I'm going to end up with. So it's been really fun. I've had to change some of my running shorts. They were getting too big and literally falling off me when I put my phone in it, the tighter shorts. So that's been fun and entertaining. But anyway, so as far as it goes, the secret sauce, what I consider for the weight loss is obviously a whole food plant-based diet, not snacking between meals. I think that's where I see some patients really struggle, is because they think a handful of nuts 2 or 3 times a day is not going to have consequence, but it actually does. Really focusing in on making half the plate at least the non-starchy, and half the plate kind of more your starchy vegetables, your grains, your legumes. When you're in active weight loss, that does help. If someone is really struggling and they don't want to count calories, if you can just kind of even go by a plate. And I know Dr. McDougall's done something similar to this, but it's just kind of a 50-50 plate. 50% of non-starchy and then 50% of starchy, and legumes and whole grains, things like that. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. So basically, just to summarize, really focus in on a moderate calorie deficit, 200 to 300 calories per day. Do 3 days of cardio, getting your heart rate up where it's a little bit harder to have a full conversation. 3 days of resistance training with progressive overload, that not so sore that you can't move the next day, but you feel like you did something. And then really, making sure that you're getting that restful sleep. You're going to bed at a regular time and waking up at the same time most days of the week, if not all. And if you're struggling to stay asleep, try this one trick. If you wake up in the middle of the night and right before you start, your mind starts going off, like mine does, I call it monkey chatter, is ask yourself this question: I wonder what my next thought will be. You guys give it a shot now. And what I found is that my brain goes blank. There is no thought. And that allows me to go back to sleep most of the time. Not every time, but definitely the majority. And that's been a real nice little trick. Um, so yeah, if you guys do that, what you're gonna have is the actual body composition. You'll maintain muscle mass or gain, you'll lose the fat. But the other piece is you've got to stick with this for 6 to 12 months, because if you don't see the consistency is key. You're not going to see it happen in a week. You're not going to see it happen. You'll see some progression in 4 weeks or, 2 months, 3 months. You got to stick with it long term. And what you'll see is that snowball effect as you start seeing progression and get stronger and feel good. Like, I'm cutting off time on my run time because now I'm stronger, but I'm also running more. That's all encouraging, right? I'm getting closer, and I know I'm getting closer to that pull up and that pistol squat and that run. But these are achievable goals, but they're only achievable because I've broken them down into smaller units and celebrate each unit that I succeed. And even if I struggle, I readjust and will try again. So you can't be discouraged. And I think that's where community is really helpful. So please feel free to join us on our free Facebook group at Dr. Marbus. And just look for Dr. Lori Marbus. It's a private Facebook group. Anyone can join. And we have the Healing Kitchen with Brittany Giroudi. We meet weekly. We have recipes. We answer medical questions. And we also have special workshops for with things like Dr. Khan this month. Next month is Dr. Clapper. We have our Vince Roundtree. We have so many awesome opportunities, and I'll probably be doing even more things just for our Healing Kitchen group. I'll probably be doing some monthly teachings and educations just for them, and answer these questions live and such. So check it out. It's only $20 a month. I really encourage you, if you're really struggling or want to find a place of community and some reliable and delicious information, please check it out. It's called the Healing Kitchen. It's on the link on drmarbus.com. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. I'll be traveling, and maybe I'll share how I travel and what I eat and what I've found to be helpful. So, yes, just one question on Instagram. It says, yes, half the plate should be non-starchy veggies, and the other half can be your starchy veggies, grains and legumes. And that will help with the weight loss if someone's not wanting to monitor calories in your protein status. So hope that's helpful, you guys. Have a beautiful, blessed weekend. I will be back tomorrow. I'm running 8 miles. So this may be before or after. We'll see how it goes. And I will share with you some strategies on traveling and what you should be looking for and how I do this because I've been traveling almost monthly now for the last 6 or 7 months. So lots to share there. So you guys have a great rest of your week.